recording up, and then I'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay.
Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Alrighty. So, in the past, last time we went over a lot of, it was improvement in mindset, so we probably didn't cover too much content, and then
Yeah.
before that, it would have been a long while since our last one,
Yeah,
or
it
I guess
was.
not, or at least like a couple months, right? It's like
Yeah.
5 months, something like that. So, basically, I guess I'll just cover it as we haven't gone over it at all before. No Man's Land and choke point usage. Let me know if at any point this kind of rings a big bell. And kind of and whatnot. So, No Man's Land choke point usage. Basically, is the concept. Choke points. That's probably a term that you might have heard before, and that's kind of like it. Really, it's like a funnel, right? It's a tiny little enclosed space. So that like this right here would be a choke point. It's a tiny little enclosed space that they all have to come through, and it funnels them into this tiny little space where your team can just spend all the spam damage through, and it's not good positioning to be in. You don't want to be in choke points, but it's good to hold them. So if I'm trying to hold a choke point, right? So if I'm trying to hold this choke right here, I am not going to want to hold at the front of the choke, because if I'm holding right here, do they shoot you, kill you, to win the fight, do they have to push past the choke? No, because you're standing right here. So you're kind of within shooting distance and range and availability, right? Same thing if we're like kind of in the middle of it, same kind of concept. So instead, usually you want to be at like the back end of the choke. So if you're holding the choke, you'd be more like around here, kind of like dancing around this edge. Like you're on the back end of it, so that they have to walk through it, and then that puts them in a bad position.
I think I do manage to do that quite a bit, sort of throughout the replay. Sort of maybe holding a little bit higher up, but sort of playing the corners a little bit. Sort of holding them in that choke point.
Yeah, so the next step here is No Man's Land, which No Man's Land is very similar to chokes, but they're a little bit different. No Man's Land is any long stretch of space where there's not really any cover, or very little cover. And that's usually, if you follow the path of a payload, usually the entire path of a payload is No Man's Land. So, I mean, like, think of something like this, where if you're just on the path here, there's really not any cover, right? And therefore, once again, that's bad positioning, because you get shot at and you got nowhere, right? So if we're holding so this right here, from like this corner to that corner, this is a No Man's Land. If you are holding up here, then the same exact concept. To win the fight, they do not need to push through it. And in fact, if they start shooting at you and you need to back up, now you have to back up through this poor positioning yourself, because you're standing in it. Same thing if you're in the middle, which that's kind of where you're at right now. You're kind of in the middle of the No Man's Land, which means that once again, to get to you, they don't really need to push through it as much, and now you're in the middle of it. So instead, best place to be would probably be like if you could be on high ground with your team. You could be down here and just throw it in, and then you're essentially just spamming them from high ground until they get to choke, and then this is usually where you want to try to hold them, because this is like the most defensible position. So there's no reason to try to take a fight in a poor spot, and then if they win, now they just push through this for free, when you could hold it in the the really good spot. That makes sense?
Yeah. I'm always sort of, when it comes to the high ground, sort of where the rest of the team are there, I'm always unsure with Ryan, especially because there's only the 2 fire strikes sort of for distance, and then sort of it seems like on Dorado, I know sort of when you're watching, if you watch OWL or something, people they do it, but it sort of seems at the lower levels it doesn't seem as effective, because I think when we attack, they sort of take the high ground, but it just seems like you're able to crouch below the payload and move with the payload and avoid getting hit.
And really, it's at that point, it's just kind of playing the waiting. Like I agree, you're probably not gonna find a ton of value until they get to the choke. But like I
Right.
said, like once they do get to here, this is where you actually want to be holding them, and
Okay. Yeah.
therefore you can drop once you see them get like here. That's when you
Yeah.
can drop on the other side.
Come round from the
From if you can come from this side, you can drop through the window, you can drop through this way, whichever way you go, right?
Yeah.
And you can drop the choke. And then that's where you can hold them. And then in the meanwhile, you're just kind of playing the waiting game, and you're just kind of poking with your team. You toss in your fire strikes, you shield to your teammates, you just let
Yeah.
your teammates poke, and you give
Okay.
them tanking, and then
Yeah.
you wait until it gets to the right spot. So this is gonna be like
Okay.
it's very similar on like just a lot of different maps. Like it's
Yeah.
this very similar concept of like, I mean, like even I guess if you're thinking like here, usually if you're defending here, if they just cap point, you're not gonna push forwards and like hold this corner. Usually you're gonna
No.
like hold this corner, right?
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. Or if they're pushing in or whatever, you just kind of hold the back corner because then you always have somewhere to run.
Yeah.
That sort of idea. So like it's going to be very similar on a lot of different maps. Like where you
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to play a little bit patient.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good fire strike. Yep. So at this point, you honestly just kind of want them to, like, so once again, it's kind of holding at the front end. You kind of just want them to give them the space to push in, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
While you and your team try to poke them down the whole way they come in. So now this is kind of what you can do, and this is good. Like you're just kind of contesting from the back end. Like you don't. They need to, like they're the ones who need to push cart. If you are just
Yeah.
chilling here, your team is burning down their time. So this is good. This is where you want to be. Like there's a positive. Like that. Yeah. Like this is really fine. Right here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Good job using cover. You're kind of backing out when you need to.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like this was yeah.
Oh, and then that's a little aggro there. All right, so we do end up getting the Zenyatta, so we end up getting away with it. Just gotta be careful to play like that because like you have the possibility of getting slept. Bastion could mow you down, so just be a little bit careful when making plays like that. It could end up getting punished like at a higher rank.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably was a little bit too aggro, but obviously got away with it.
Now here you could possibly push like the Reaper because he's off on his own. They're all respawning still, so that's a possibility right now. Like if you saw Reaper Wraith off into the right side and your Torbjorn's going to fight him, you could possibly charge in after him, help your Torbjorn out, something like that.
Especially while like they were still down a tank and a support.
Great shatter. Really well played. Push in with it. Yep, there you kind of back out when you're at a big advantage. So, kind of got to watch these different things. Like, you see Reaper is 1 HP. Looking at your health bar, you still have, like, all of your resources left, right? Like, you have all of your health. You have your shield. You have Kiri, because what do you call it? Kitsune Rush, right? That just pops. So, just right now, probably should be pushing a little bit delayed. Kind of just chilling around for a little bit. That's a little minor.
Yeah.
Overall, good fight. Good shatter.
Yeah, like you said, probably just a little bit delayed back up and just should have pushed it a little bit earlier. Obviously won the fight.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, probably let Cart push in just a tad bit more. Because now we're starting to get to like this front end of the choke is the problem.
Yeah.
All right, so Shatter
Should have
to
expected that.
Yeah, so shatter to shatter. Like, honest, I'm not gonna teach you because you're a little bit lower, so I'm not gonna teach you how to ult track like everything that they have. You don't have to worry about that.
No.
But usually, it's a good idea to keep track of their shatter, and
Yeah.
you can do this like a couple different ways, right? Firstly, if you're 3 minutes into the game, he probably got shatter.
Yeah.
Firstly, all right.
Yeah.
Secondly, usually, generally speaking, when you're talking about ultimates, you get an ultimate every other fight. So you ult, you go a fight without ult as you're charging
Yeah.
it up, and then you ult again, you go a fight without it, you get it again. Now, sometimes this can be faster if you're doing a lot, sometimes this can be slower if you're doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
The other way that you can keep track of what Reinhardt's doing is just literally go based off of your own ult and how much do
Yeah.
you see their Reinhardt doing. So you got a lot more swings in than their Reinhardt, so you got yours first, right?
Yes.
But if you got yours in first and you got to 100% and he was doing a similar amount of swings as you, which he
Yeah.
kind of was, then you want to presume that he's probably close to it, right? You want to be thinking, okay, Reinhardt's probably really close to his ult. So now here, right? Now you know Reinhardt shattered. You're at 50%. Now you
Yeah.
know you're 50% ahead of the Reinhardt. So you can use that as a baseline. So if
Okay. Yeah.
if you get shatter and you're doing roughly the same amount, he's going to be at 50%, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of use yourself as a baseline. You can use how much are they doing, how much time has passed, and when was the last time they used it, right? All that
Yeah.
it kind of adds up to it. So here just was a really long time. They did a very similar amount of stuff to us. Just so kind of just want to watch for that.
Yeah. It was just, I think I sort of expected him to have shatter, but it was one of them like, well, I'm guessing I should have been better just staying at the back of the choke and then sort of just baiting him out and fire striking him, try to bait out the shatter with, and then shielding it. Really,
Yeah,
that would
like
be what you
usually,
say.
really, it's being ready when you know that he has it. You're being ready to shield at any moment. And just shielding maybe like a tad bit more often. Yeah, so
Okay,
you have
yeah,
a greater chance of blocking it, sort
yeah,
of idea. All right, now worked really well there. Yeah, you're besides that shadow, you're kind of rolling the Reinhardt and the 1v1, which
yeah,
probably has a decent. Actually, their Reinhardt has better team support too, so I guess Discord's maybe helping.
yeah, yeah. Like it's my mate who's playing the Zen, but
Yep.
yeah, I think he's quite a decent player. So yeah, maybe getting away with it.
And now you know that they don't have anything to block you. They're possibly, let's see, because right now you're without teammates, so this is an issue. Make sure that you're kind of checking around yourself before the fight begins. So this is awareness of do
Yeah.
a 360 and
Okay.
check where my teammates at. Because right now this is an issue because it's a 1-2-3 versus a 1-2-3-4. And with their bashing, so we're just at a minor disadvantage here. So potential instead of trying to hold choke instead, maybe you could be like holding back here, they push in and then
Yeah.
as you're baiting them to push in, then you shatter, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Where here they all get run past you, so you can't really shatter everybody, right?
No, because they're all separate.
Yeah, so holding it a bit further back there probably could have been a good idea. Here, shatter, shatter, little bit. So problem, like you kind of had it all lined up, like right here. You can see like you have all three of them like lined up right there.
Okay, yeah.
But the problem is that you back up even further, let people run around the corner, and then you shatter. So you're shattering when Bap was able to run around the corner. You went out of range of the Kriko. So you went from having 3 people in it to 1 person
Just
in
the
it.
one. Yeah. I think it was possibly the thought of having the lamp up as well.
Yeah, which so let's see.
In the first instance, the lamp was up. So
yeah, usually
like that.
so like here, there's pulse bomb going off. Secondly, usually you can still kind of hopefully destroy the lamp is the idea. Now you are right. There's a lamp, so maybe you would wait until the lamp's about to run out, or look to destroy it, or look to land it like I'd probably just wait until lamp runs out, but still I probably wouldn't be backing out. Once again, watching like your health
Okay.
bar and the fact that you have shield, you can probably just like shield up and still be playing closer, so you can have a better angle.
Yeah.
And then once you see pulse bomb, then you're good to go, because then it destroys lamp. Yeah. Here also charging, because you do have charge. There's a cart right in front of you. It's a very short distance. Since it's also a single person, charge would be completely fine.
Right. Okay.
The only time you don't want to charge is if you're going to be like, if you shatter their whole team, you're booping everybody. But if it's a
Spreading them all
single,
out.
yeah, exactly. But if it's a single person, or if you go swing and then charge at the very end of your shatter, then that's a good idea. So if you have it available, great idea.
Yeah.
You'd probably finish her off here, but we kind of let her get up. All right. Little bit of awareness stuff, like
Yeah.
you can kind of see
Sebastian moving in left.
Yeah, so you can see him running left side. You can hear him if you keep your ears open. It's very loud, clunky. Like if you hear him running over, you can probably like charge him as he's turning the corner, just based off of an audio cue.
Yeah.
You can even hear like if you're probably do like a jump charge instead. So maybe like let's cover a couple techie things.
Okay.
Go over. They can probably help out a little bit, Orion. All right. So, jump charge. That's just the idea that like instead of especially if I'm low HP, if there's somebody right around this corner here, I don't want to peek and then charge when I could jump and charge and carry that momentum with me. So you jump up in the midair while holding to the side, and then you charge after that point, right?
Okay.
So just as simple as that. Very similar to like something like the fire strike peak. So if I'm trying to fire strike, especially if I'm low HP or I'm just like not trying to take damage, why would I peek and just sit here and fire strike and sit here and fire strike when fire strike has a charge up animation? I can press it while I'm around the corner and then peek right? And then that way I'm only around the corner for a second, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Swing range. So your swing, if we kind of line. Oh, oopsie. Let's see if I can find the range here. Oh gosh darn it! Why is this not working? All right. Well, un momento. Finding your range here. All right. So this is your swing range. Right. This is right out of range.
Yeah.
But you'll notice. So, right out of range. But if you. Yeah, this is not working at all.
Yeah, they're not letting you have that.
Yeah. But if you notice, if I actually... Okay, well now it's not working. Alright. Out of swing range. But if you notice, if I turn to the side, you actually put it in your swing range. You actually have a larger hitbox on the side of your swing than in the center of your swing. So you kind of reach further with it. Now,
right, okay.
That means that if you're trying to swing on somebody, you usually kind of hold a little bit to the side of them. So you can kind of hit them a little bit easier. Sort of thing. But usually the way that this also, like, this kind of pairs in with something else with your swinging, and that is that you probably want to do a lot bigger arcing with your swings. So if I'm coming into a fight and I'm trying to kill this person, why would I do this and just swing on this person when I could instead do this and just move my crosshair around a little bit more and just hit both of these people at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. So usually you can have a very big arc. You can in fact even hit people in a complete 180. Right. So notice it's just the one person, but I can turn and hit both of these people at the exact same time on opposite sides of me. Usually you can go in the path of your swing. So hammer goes left, hammer goes right. Hammer goes left.
Yeah.
Hammer goes right. It just helps you with the kind of the rhythm with it, right? So, that would be a big one to recommend because that's gonna up your damage and up the amount of. Because you can kind of in certain cases you can kind of go crazy with it and just kind of swing around and hit everybody all at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Minor shield thing, just in case you're familiar with the fact that you can look behind you with your shield. Yeah.
No, wasn't it?
So are you familiar with how to do it, or no? Not really.
No, not really.
Not really. So this is handy for if, once again, it's like if you're not wanting to go, where's my team at? Right? You can go like
Yeah.
this and go, where's my team at? And then if you, so how you do this is, firstly, shield has to be up. This does not work if you don't have shield.
Yeah.
Shield is up, and shield is bound to, you're on PC, yeah?
No, console.
Nope, console. Okay, you're on console. So shield is shield right trigger, left trigger for you?
Left trigger.
Left trigger. Okay, so it's left trigger, right? Shield is left trigger, so you hold up with left trigger, and then your swing button, you press your right trigger. You're going to press, and you just hold that down and drag around, and that's going to allow you to see behind you. If you let go of your swing button, you will snap back. If you let go of your shield button, you will snap to where you're looking. So this is handy. Even so, you can if you're going for more advanced stuff, you can even do things like this. Like you can see around corners with it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like things like that without letting them know you're here, right? Because this lets them know you're here. This does not let them know you're here. So people do things like this where they go shatter, right? They'll do things like that. And you can also kind of do just swing shatter, things like that. So that's just a handy one to know. Are you familiar with how to shield hop?
Yeah.
Yep. So that one, I don't think I've seen too many scenarios where it would have been like required in your game, but you know how to do it. Just I would recommend like usually the time to do it is anytime you are pushing or backing, because you can do it backwards too. Pushing or backing, and you're trying to do it fast. Now, if you now are like low HP or your teammates are taking damage or whatever, right? If somebody's in danger, then you can hard shield. And unless you're like super safe, you're not gonna want to drop shield. So if you're trying to keep it fast while being safe, you kind of shield hop in, and that gets you from point A to point B as fast as possible. Alrighty. I think that's mostly it in terms of Reinhardt tech. So I think we can hop back here. Were there? Are you? What other characters have you been playing besides Reinhardt, or is Reinhardt been mainly it?
Reinhardt mainly. Sort of switching to trying to learn a bit of RAM. But sort of pretty much mostly Reinhardt. So maybe some Orisa.
Gotcha.
And then probably those three, but Reinhardt mainly. Or I suppose Diva as well a little bit, but again, it's,
all right.
Predominant, Reinhardt.
Gotcha.
Traveling to Dorado. Ready for battle.
Alright. Uh-oh. We're gonna go to the start. You're like... Here, we peek around the corner. Here we could do like the kind of the jump charge.
The shield hopper.
Yeah. Kind of gotta watch pushing there. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about aggression scaling, because I've noticed a couple times, like, we've talked about, like, how sometimes you're pushing when you shouldn't be pushing, and sometimes you're backing up when you shouldn't be backing up. So, aggression is basically that concept of, like, when do you push, when do you back? And aggression scaling is taking aggression as a concept and making it a bit more tangible, and putting it with it's kind of a tool to measure when you should and when you shouldn't be aggressive. I've
been trying to work on the aggression scaling thing, but
Gotcha. Oh, is that something we went over last time we went over?
Okay,
gotcha.
We spoke about
Cool. All right, so that's handy. Like as that, just I guess really quick reminder then. We don't have to go into the depth. Good, thank you for interrupting me there. Then,
I know.
50% neutral, right? You're coming to every
Yeah.
fight. 0% is passive. You're just starting. That's where you play super passive. And you're not going
Yeah.
anywhere. 100% is super aggressive, and you're pushing in. You go up with advantages and with opportunities. You go down with disadvantages, with a lack of resources, and with and also with danger. So far, I'd say the probably maybe one of the biggest ones that seems like you're maybe misreading is your resources. Like, you'll back up when you have full HP and full shields, and then you'll push in when you have no shields and no HP.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's maybe one of the bigger ones there to pay attention to is watch shield health, watch your health. When you're low and you don't got shield, maybe play a little bit more passive.
Yeah.
When you have those, you're able to play more aggressive. Not that those are gonna instantly you're not gonna instantly go, oh, I have full health, let me push up to
Let me push it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not how that. But you're able to play aggressive, right? You have the capability to. So, I just watch that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just to make sure we're kind of, once again, maybe this is probably a little bit of a review, because if I'm just going back, I think we probably would have talked about this 2 times ago and last time, but just like application, right? How you're putting this stuff into practice. Give me your rundown of like how are you putting this stuff into practice? Like what's your method?
Do you mean sort of the like in terms of like monitoring the aggression scaling and stuff like that?
Yeah, and the idea, just once again, like that quick refresher of like, as you're looking to apply, you apply by intently focusing on the thing you're trying to work on, not everything all at the same time, because that's
Yeah.
too much, but
Yeah.
the one
Just one.
category or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category. Make that your focus. Give yourself reminders as you play. So if aggression scaling is the thing, then you would say aggression scaling, aggression scaling, aggression scaling,
Yeah.
awareness, right? Just giving yourself a reminder to think about it, right?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So just that reminder that you're kind of on the right track of applying things.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think sort of at the moment, sort of like been positioning, sort of trying to play the quarters and stuff like that with, yeah, sort of trying to maintain the thought of aggression scaling, but sort of, um, yeah, trying to play in the right sort of places.
Yeah. All right. So towards pushing a little farther. So here, once again, probably could just be holding this like back left corner. Probably is
Yeah.
is the place to go.
It seemed like there was only the BAP there, so sort of I tried to push onto the BAP and then then backed out of the fight.
Yeah, possibly if you're because you're on console as well. If you're finding it difficult to make turns, possibly looking to up sensitivity slightly. At least like for Reinhardt. Don't know if like, I mean, you're mainly playing tank, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But don't go to where it's uncontrollable for you. But to the extent where you're able to make those swinging motions and turns easily.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Here. Let's rewatch this. We're pushing in aggro. Possibly mildly too aggro. Or let's see,
Yeah.
because I guess we're right now. It's just kind of 3 of us against 5 of them. So here you could maybe be looking to, I don't know. Let's see, Tracer. Looking to like charge out here potentially, like just regroup and re-engage, because you're kind of at this point lost the fight, I would probably presume, and then getting out just lets you regroup up. Both of the only other people with you are Kiriko and Tracer, both of whom can probably make it out too, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that'll probably
Easily
be
sort of movement abilities to get out.
Junker Queen does not look like she's having a fun time here. Just like slowly sliding down the screen.
Yeah.
So then also just be careful because you kind of like get shredded. Gotta be watching out for that.
Okay.
Good job getting her. Okay.
So I think there was like I can push it, but I also then didn't want to push it too far.
Alright, so here we kind of had them all lined up, and I think we're hesitating with the shatter a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Because I think you're looking for it. I think, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
So that seems like what it is. You kind of peek for it, like here, and you see that they're all kind of lined up, but they're a little bit far away. Your teammates, like this is maybe paying attention, like where are all your teammates at? Are they able to capitalize with you? Ash definitely can. Tracer probably can. Kiriko probably definitely can, right? So the only person who wouldn't be able to do anything would be like Zenyatta. And that's
just
if
payload's blocking him.
yeah, like if 4 of you can shoot into the shatter, then it's probably fine, right? You're good.
Okay.
So therefore, like, don't be hesitant. There's only 24 seconds on the clock. This is if we win this is pretty much last fight. They're gonna have to stagger in for their next one. So I would go for the shatter early. Ults that are used first, generally speaking, get more value than ults that are used second. So you could be just like I'd push forward because this isn't gonna reach the people in the back. I would push forwards a little bit because you do have all your health. Push forwards a little bit and then shatter, and then they're all down, right? And then you can maybe clean up some kills with it. Possibly charge the soldier or something like that, right?
Yeah, okay.
But the problem is that we let them goal here, and then they all kind of spread out. You can maybe go for one here, but they kind of all get not lined up again, is the problem. Okay, now you can shatter. Oh, so you kind of see it lined up again. Just be when you're looking for the shatter, wait for them to all clump up themselves, because throughout a fight you'll notice, as we saw here, you'll notice that people kind of spread out and then group up, and then spread out and then group up. Like it's kind of the flow of the fight that'll happen. So you don't want to shatter when they're all spread out and just like hope that people magically run into it on accident. You want to do it when they're all clumped up. So keep your eyes open for when they do clump up, and that's when you want to be shattering. So here you had a clump up earlier, and then we missed it, and then here we have a clump up again. Where now, right here, if we shatter like right now, that's 3 of them right there.
There's a lot,
and there's only 4 of them alive, so we don't need a 3. If we kill 3 people, that's a win. we got it.
Yeah.
So you don't need all 4 here. 3 people, and then you wait. And then we wait, and then we just soldier runs out of it, and then now we only get 2 people. All right, so we win it anyways, so it's not a big deal, but like still, faster value. Faster value means less opportunities for them to pull the rug out from underneath you guys.
Yeah, I don't know whether I was waiting for the Kiriko ult for the more value. I don't know whether that or whether I should have been popping my ult for then her to pop hers.
Yeah, you can definitely do it in that order, like either order.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, like it really could go either way. Like, if you see the opportunity, I wouldn't. If you see the opportunity for a massive shatter, I wouldn't wait on your Gear Gold ult first.
No, okay. It's not as impactful.
Yeah, like it's still. Kiriko can kind of pop it whenever, but you kind of need the opportunity. So don't pass up the opportunity if it comes up. and yes, like if you shatter, like it's a good combo in a sense. Kiriko ult is just kind of good all around, and it kind of combos everything with everything. So if you shatter, you can shoot at them extra fast. Great, but also you probably could do this, get the same like you probably get a lot of value even without it too. So either way it goes, you're gonna be good. And you who knows? Maybe if you shatter 5 people, Kiriko might be like, huh, maybe this is a good time to pop my ultimate.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, like I suppose like an Ana ult. It's better to wait to have the ult for the shatter, is it? Or
so once again, kind of, I'd say the same thing with it. Now, if you're just saying like you're waiting for her to get the ultimate, like let's say she's like 80 or 90% to it, then sure, like maybe yeah, like unless you see the perfect shatter, maybe wait the extra 10-20%. But if she has her ultimate, you don't need to let her pop it on you first. Because if you see the opportunity for a shatter, you kind of dictate the engagement. You're the one like basically deciding when am I pushing in, when am I backing out. You don't want the Ana to decide, okay, you're pushing now, pop nano on you, and then now they're just backing up anyways.
Then they move all the way. Okay, yeah.
So same thing as just like if you see it, go for it. Don't wait for them to pop their ult first.
Yeah, okay.
You know, we can just do like some poke swinging, maybe like playing a mild bit passive there. Okay. Now, like right now, like we're kind of like just playing a little. This is like below neutral. Neutral would just be like I'm going in, I'm swinging, and then I'm backing, and I'm swinging, and I'm backing. Like it's just like casual swinging. Here we're just not really doing. We're just fire striking, and that's it. So get some casual swings in.
Yeah.
Like you were doing.
I think we were moving the cart. I think though.
Yeah, which you were good when you were moving the cart, and then Reinhardt game contested it. Once he started contesting it, then I would go in. Then I would go and put some casual swings on because it puts pressure.
Create some space.
From the back up. Yeah, exactly. You were doing this really like just to give you a sense of an idea. You were doing that really good when you were defending the choke point here earlier. When you're holding behind the cart, you were just getting casual swings in. Like you weren't getting 100% aggro and charging into their team, except for that one time, and you weren't not doing anything, right? Like so that's your neutral right there. So here, just mild it below that. Okay, so that's your neutral right there, right? Like you're not playing too aggro.
Yeah.
Now, once again, probably start time to put a little bit of pressure on. Reinhardt charges. You can probably charge after him. Maybe mildly delayed there, because that.
Yeah.
The faster you charge
it, team's already killed him.
Yeah, exactly. So here, you can probably just like turn this way and charge, and just because you have a lot of curvature on it, right? So just a little bit delayed on how fast we're charging back, but you can very easily just kind of follow after him, and then that's an easy kill.
Yeah, but I think he was sort of trying to follow his same path to try and land the charge on him.
Okay. Here, yeah, you need healing. Good job requesting it. These guys are very off on their own. Push the people. So that's an opportunity right there. So like Brig, right, being off on her own, and you just saw like everybody else is all the way over there, right? You saw both the DPS are all the way over there, and the Reinhardt's dead. That's an opportunity, right? So that's where you charge over to Brig and you try to kill her.
Yeah.
And then now opportunity's lost because she's gone.
Yeah. And then I'm doing the thing. It's just about 10 seconds after you mentioned them, when the opportunity's gone.
Alright, so here we do get the kill, but that's also because Kiriko was probably a little bit dumb. Kiriko could have probably just turned around and TP'd to Junkrat and made it out. Maybe playing like mildly aggro, like too aggro, but because then now you're like really low here. So you get away. It works. It works out great there. Questionable. Like it's possible you don't need the shatter here because you have a big advantage already, but gotta get the big play of the game.
Yeah, I actually got to play the game.
Yep. So once again, so now when you're playing the offensive side and you're working with no man's lands and chokes, you want to through them as quickly as possible. And when you do it, you move from cover to cover to cover. So here, for example, instead of letting them all group up and then walk up to this corner and then now hold you on the corner, we can pre-push to the corner, let our teammates push card. Usually tank doesn't have to push card until like halfway through-ish, right, of the point.
Okay.
It's like usually like if you're talking about job, it's like support is first half, tank is second half, because the end here especially is when they start to contest it, right? That's where they have to contest it.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's usually where you want your tank on it. So here, if you don't want them to kind of like, if you don't want to push through this after they get here, then just pre-push up to here, and then now
I'm getting it.
Yeah, and then that way, like they kind of just get the free push card up behind you. That gets more space for cart. It gets more space for your team, and it means that you don't have to push through it after the fact.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of pre-pushing. Now I wouldn't do like all the way up here because that's way too far forward. So that's just like way too much. But this, like, if they start pushing it back, like, okay, I run back a couple inches, I'm good. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if I'm just up at that corner, then still in the sideline of the Zen, keep the orb on me. And...
Yep. Unfortunate charge.
Yeah, I didn't actually see the trap at all, but...
Here we're kind of letting soldier visor for free, one thing. So watch the visor, and then also here probably just like, cause this is the on the aggression scaling. This is the danger stuff going on. Like they have visor that they've popped. They have on top of that just like a lot of people looking straight at you, and you also don't have to. I mean, at that point, like your whole team's dead, but. Before, like, if we shield up and try to like back up with and try to block off the visor, like you could potentially even, like, if soldier pushes this way by himself, you could even back up and swing on soldier and he dies. So you very potentially have the opportunity to stop 2 of your teammates from dying and then also get a kill on soldier.
Right, and then change the course of the fight effectively.
Yeah. So that's kind of awareness, paying attention, and then maybe a little bit of like, after the fact, a game sense of decision making of like, what do I do now? Do we have our whole team with us? I think we do. Yeah, okay, we do. Okay, good job. Okay, start. Once you reach that half, we gotta be a little bit careful. All right. Okay, good shatter. Very nice. Makes you lead your fire strike, so it's going. It's a projectile, so it's going ahead of where they're moving. So instead of here, we fire it right on top of him. Right, we want to fire it ahead of him. Oh, and that's game. All right, pretty much perfect timing. Now we can hop into the review main points and wrap up of the session.
Yep.
And all that. All right.
Perfectly timed.
Say that again.
Perfectly timed, like you said.
Yep. All right. So, abilities. Charge. Pretty solid. Like charge in your ult, unless you're gonna boop everybody, and usually you can shatter, swing, and.
Yeah. Is it worth sort of trying to hold on to both fire strikes? Like, as sort of like I'm getting close to it, is it worth sort of trying to hold on so I've got, well, at least one fire strike before shattering so that I can fire strike, swing, or...
Well, remember that fire strike does how much damage?
Is it 150 now?
It's just 100.
Or 200? Oh, is it?
Fire strike is 100 each. right?
Right, okay.
It was during Overwatch 1. It was actually I think it was about the same, something like that. It was a little bit higher. But it's 100 each, which means that on a squishy target you do how much damage?
With
2.
Probably half health.
So 100 times 2
yeah.
is how much?
Oh, 200, yeah.
How much health do people have? The squishy targets have?
Yeah, 200.
200. Yeah. All right. So we can so with both we can one-shot people, and it's ranged, which means that if usually as well, like, is a minor thing. I don't really crouch as often. I'd recommend maybe like having it bound so you can sneak and things like that. And like just make sure you're ready with it. When you shatter, if people are kind of spread apart, crouching will give you a better angle for the fire strike on the people who are further away. So you can hit multiple fire strike this person and that person. Then I'd be looking at the ground on this person, which means it doesn't go. But if instead I kind of back up and I crouch, then you can get both people. So I'll demonstrate. Right, you can kind of crouch, get a fire strike in, and and then you can fit 2 fire strikes in, and then that's 2 people dead. Right. So that just basically means that you get range on it. So I wouldn't. It's not enough value to where I would force the hold on, especially like sometimes like getting those fire strikes in helps you charge it up faster, right? So you get your ult. So I wouldn't force yourself to hold on to it, but if you do get it, it's that'd be a good idea. It's gonna be a little bit helpful. Like if you have them both available and they're all kind of spread out, then that will help you kill people from a range. Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Fire strike, not too many problems. Charge, a couple things here and there. Shield hopping, looking behind you is shield. Shield management, generally pretty good. Sometimes, I think a lot of it would just come down to aggression of, like, just sometimes you wouldn't shield when you were needing it, like when you were low HP or when you, like, you or your teammates were in danger. To watch out for that, like, when you're in danger, when you have 5 people shooting at you, be a little bit careful. And then sometimes, like, you would maybe hold the shield up like a little too much, like, but it wasn't too bad. So overall abilities, higher end of a low to medium or something like that. There's some stuff to work on. Maybe lower end of a medium. It's a little bit of stuff to work on, not too much. Shatter, don't be hesitant with it. It was good that you didn't hold on to it, like you didn't go like multiple fights without using it, but you were a little hesitant during the fights. Look to use it a little bit earlier. Use it at the start of the fight, not before the fight, but when the fight's starting, because that's usually best. Mid fight's okay, late fight's situational. Shatter, just wait for them to all clump up and group up, and don't. Yeah, like sometimes you'd see it and then we'd wait, and then we'd see it and then we'd wait, and then we'd go for it, and then now we only get 2 people instead of 5 people. Sort of deal, right? So just I don't know. Honestly, I feel like that's probably similar amount of stuff to like the abilities, maybe like lower end of medium, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Some stuff not atrocious. Moving on, it comes there's not really too many mechanics of Reinhardt.
No.
So then comes the positioning. Make sure you're using cover. Good positioning, usage of cover. No man's land and choke points, right? Look to respect those on attack and defense, right? So defense, don't hold the front, don't hold the middle, hold the back end of both of them. And then when you're attacking, push using as fast as possible, shield hopping and using cover. And if you're able to, pre-push it a little bit, unless it's like too far ahead of the fight, right? Like don't go too far.
Don't go,
Sometimes take high ground. Like even if you're on Reinhardt and it's not great for you, just remember that high grounds are great for your team, and they're also great for the enemy team, which means that you can, if by being on high ground, sometimes you can keep it you can hand it into your team's hands, and you can rip it away from the hands of the enemy team and maintain it. And then also high grounds can be a good way to kind of get on top of them. So like, for example here, let's say we're trying to get through the choke. Instead of pushing through choke, I could just come through the high ground and drop on top of their heads. Or even just run up high ground and run the point. right? Like you can use high grounds as pathing as well, of where do I run to where I and my team take the least amount of damage to get from point A to point B. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So high ground still does have use, so just keep that in mind. Just not you're not gonna want to be it on all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's mostly it. Overall, that one's a bit of a medium, maybe medium, higher end of medium, we'll say.
Okay.
Then next comes your awareness/aggression. Awareness/aggression, watch your health bar. Watch your shield health, right? Those are probably some big ones. Watch your resources, right? Pay attention to those. Pay attention to where are your teammates at. Before you push, you should always do a 360 or do the shield thingy, right? But yeah, you check behind. You always want to check behind before you push aggressively. Check behind frequently so you know where your teammates are at. Watch where the enemy teammates are at. Watch for when. Just pay attention. Keep your eyes and ears open. Keep your ears open for audio cues. Things like that. All the odds, and then put that all in. We just kind of went over it before, right? 0%, 50%, 100%. Just look to pay attention to that and put a little bit of effort into it, because sometimes it'd be a bit off. Overall, I feel like those two combined maybe is like a tad better than your positioning, but like not like super duper. So like higher end of medium, possibly touching into like the lower end of medium high. So to put that all in order. Number 1, awareness/aggression. Number 2, position. I feel like I'm gonna say ult usage just because that's like, you know, it's less things to work on. These.
Yeah.
And abilities less. Any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Cool.
Nope.
So I'll get you recording in a minute.